Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and today I want to share with you yet another list that this time truly speaks to me because it's about doing absolutely sweet FA. In fact, I might even get the rest of this intro read out for me text-to-speech style because I'm a bit sleepy and I could use a wee laze myself.
Video games are rarely, if ever, passive, and thanks to things like quick-time events, even their more cinematic elements now encourage engagement, whether that be dodging attacks or engaging in swift and exciting combat. Even games that aren't action-oriented generally require the player to be thinking critically about what it is they're seeing and what they're trying to achieve.
Alright, maybe I won't do that because I don't want this actually sounding like a Watch Mojo video, do I? Zing! In short, video games make you do the do, but sometimes, as in the cases on this list, you can still do by not do. Shut up. I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video games that reward you for not playing them.
But before we begin, I just want to quickly tell you about today's list sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a brand new free-to-play RPG that is taking the mobile gaming world by storm. In just 3 months, the title has already amassed over 10 million players worldwide, and you can see why. Great graphics, 13 spectacular locations, PvP, arena battles, and an amazing storyline with over 400 champions to collect and customize. There's something for everyone in Raid, whether you've just got 5 minutes to level up an ability, or whether you want to dive right in and go after the top spots in the competitive rankings. Raid is getting rave reviews, and with almost 200,000 player ratings, it's not just me who has given the game a near perfect score on the Play Store. The game is growing super fast, and the highly anticipated new update is now live. Even better, with the new player rewards program, you'll get a reward every single time you log in for the first 90 days. So what are you waiting for? Check out the description in this video, click on our special links, and you will net yourself 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. Good luck, and I'll see you there.
Number 10. Battlefield 2142 dished out bonus points for not playing. In an attempt to lessen the gap between players who could sink dozens and dozens of hours into Battlefield 2142 and those who, well, were doing other things, the game began to offer bonus points for every 24 hours a player wasn't in-game. Now, in theory, this was supposed to boost lower players higher much quicker, which is a bit of an odd concept seeing as they'd not actually improved this way, making for instances of just getting destroyed despite leveling up quicker. Anyway, these bonus points were available to everyone, meaning that if you were truly the cock of the walk at this game, then you could easily rack up a ton of points quickly by taking a break, then coming back with an EXP boost and an axe to grind. Number 9. EARTHBOUND teaches you to meditate. Despite being released in 1994 for the SNES, EARTHBOUND has persisted as a Nintendo classic for over 3 decades, with many fans demanding its sequel, known as Mother 3, finally receive an official English translation. And it's not hard to see why, because it's packed to the brim with memorable and entertaining moments, even in sections that might not first appear to be that engaging at all, that is. So during this part of the game, where the player controls a character named Pooh, I know, Pooh climbs a mountain in order to learn the ancient art of Moo meditation. While meditating, Pooh receives a bunch of rather disturbing visions, people calling him out, asking for his help, and a spirit that threatens to break his arms and legs. It's pretty weird, creepy stuff. But here's the thing, the only way to get this Moo training is to ignore all of these distractions, to literally do nothing for several minutes except be berated by everyone and everything. If you're impatient, you'll break the concentration and not receive the training, meaning that in order to do the Moo, don't move. Clever, really. Number 8, Dead Rising. I absolutely adore the Dead Rising franchise, mainly because it's over-the-top, stressful, time-managing gameplay and endless hordes that want to suck my brain and I have to beat off with my big stick reminds me of bedding one of your mothers. Pow, right to the kisser as it were, and also, that is my one per list. However you choose to spend your time in the Willamette Mall and beyond is up to you, but time itself is of the essence, as if you want to see everything and battle every boss, you'll be zipping back and forth up until the final seconds. Well, unless you really just don't fancy it, that is. You see, if you just decide to wait it out as soon as Frank lands on top of the mall, which in fairness does take 6 hours of real time, you'll net yourself the third best ending of the game, which to be honest isn't great and just sees Frank bundle back on board the chopper chopper and fly off into the distance, but still, for not doing anything, that's pretty fantastic. True, you'll miss out on the mystery and all the head smashing, but if you want to rack up a completion, then you can pop this on and then literally do anything else, and then just come back and bask in your energy-wasting glory. Number 7. Far Cry 4 and 5. Now, it's pretty well documented by this point, but you can indeed beat Far Cry 4 without so much as a press of a button, which sees you forego a life in the wild being hunted by Pagan Min and his cronies, and instead have a lovely meal with him and then honour your mother's life as you originally intended. Plus, this actually has the added bonus of you being able to then go and have some fun with your uncle. Isn't that nice? I mean, true, he stabs people and looks a bit like a weird Twitch streamer with that hair, but still, it is the thought that counts. What people weren't expecting, though, was for the developers to carry on this gimmick into Far Cry 5, in which you can also experience a quick ending by refusing to handcuff Joseph Seed. After your colleagues shout at you to, do your job, the sheriff will call the whole thing off, likely to go and do a training day with you on why you should always arrest cult leaders, and the game will therefore be over. It's not as satisfying as actually playing the games, but again, a free ending is a free ending. Number 6. Undertale's combat system involves attacks which need to be ignored. Aside from having some of the best music in the business, Undertale was a fun game throughout, asking players to subvert their expectations time and time again. With combat that offered players the chance to forgive their attackers and endlessly quotable dialogue, is it any wonder that this game is still rightly championed as an example of excellent game design? Case in point, one of the more understated features of the game comes in the form of blue attacks that enemies will launch at you. Now, these will damage your health if they hit you while moving. Therefore, in order to survive these bullet hell segments made up of blue attacks, you literally need to do nothing. It's a brilliant twist on games that constantly require you to dive and dash out of harm's way, and it's almost a greater test to simply not dodge these attacks. Plus, it's a feature that fits in very nicely with the title's themes of mercy and forgiveness. Number 5. The Stanley Parable wants you to stop playing for 5 whole years. There are some people who take achievement hunting incredibly seriously, people who don't feel like they've truly finished a game until they've bagged every single achievement on offer. And you know what? I commend these sad, amazing people. I kid, as truly there is actually nothing like 100%ing a game. It's just a shame then that in order to do that for the Stanley Parable, that's going to take you 5 years to do. Well, to be more specific, the requirements for this final achievement, titled Go Outside, are that you stop playing this game for 5 years and don't boot it up, not even once in this time. I mean, yes, you can technically mess with your computer clock to make the game think that this time has passed, but either way, the meta shenanigans of this game literally rewards you with that sweet 100% by making you wait for it. Nice. Number 4, putting an end to the end. Now this is the thing, why you'd want to cheat yourself out of one of the better boss battles in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is beyond me, but you totally can circumvent the end should you choose to be a little sneaky. Now I detailed just now that you can manipulate the in-game clock in order to get one of the Stanley Parable's final achievements, and the same trick can be applied here, with the player using the console clock to skip forward a week in order to make the end die of old age. But you can also get this by simply not doing anything and passing the time by, living your life however you please. It's one of the many tiny but brilliant features across the franchise, and clearly something that Kojima knew would cause great joy upon its discovery. Plus, as a straight-up battle, the end can be extremely challenging. Hell, it's almost impossible if you've not managed to pick up the heat vision goggles earlier on in the game. With shots that seemingly hit you out of nowhere and a bird that gives away your location, you might actually be tempted to use this dirty trick in order to best the best. Number 3, Bravely Default charges your attacks while the 3DS is in sleep mode. Honestly, not enough gets said about how brilliant Bravely Default and its sequel are. Outstanding RPGs on Nintendo's handheld devices, each carries with it an old-school charm with a brilliant and engaging narrative. However, it's not a series content in just doing things by the numbers in extremely polished ways. As with the introduction of sleep points, the game actually rewards you for taking breaks from the game. Now, these sleep points are used as extra actions and can totally be all the difference between victory and defeat. For every 8 hours that the console is in sleep mode with the game on, achieved by simply just closing the system in half, you'll earn a certain amount of these coveted points, which means that taking a healthy break or getting a nice 8-hour sleep isn't just a bonus, it's practically encouraged. Now, if only there was a way to get extra SP for eating healthy and working out. Number 2, RuneScape lets you take control of an entire island. Oh RuneScape, how our childhoods were stolen by you cheeky little minx, and this was a game that was a staggering achievement of content and player support for the time. The fact that it's having a resurgence today just shows how much staying power this franchise truly has. One of the most interesting quests in the entire game though was called Thrones of Miscellanea. Successful completion of this quest makes the player the regent of the nation Miscellanea, an island full of resources and workers willing to gather them. And if there's one thing that everyone knows about RuneScape, it's that resource collection is pretty much what you'll be spending a ton of time on, because they're needed for everything and skill levels, and usually cost an absolute party hat and a leg to buy with gold. Which makes the ability to manage Miscellanea, aka getting workers to mine ore, fish, cut down trees and do other tasks, extremely valuable. Yes, that's right, the game effectively gives you an out from that whole, gameplay aspect and lets these peons do all the hard graft for you. In fact, you would hear stories of players going offline for ages and then coming back to find massive gluts of rare materials, all by doing absolutely nothing. Hey, it's how our society works in real life, so why not mirror it in game? Oh yeah, because it's actually depressing. At number 1, there's a boss in Final Fantasy V that demands you don't fight it. I absolutely love turn-based combat. It's a mode that allows you to plan your moves down to the last detail, but even I can agree that sometimes across different games it can be quite late into the fight before you realise that you're simply not going to win, or even why you're not doing as much damage as you think you should. A good example of this can be found in Final Fantasy V, though, in the boss Go-Go. If you attack him, he's got the power to wipe out an entire party in just a few absolutely brutal attacks. However, if you actually pay attention to what he's saying, you might find a much simpler means of besting this boss. You see, Go-Go is a mimic, which means he only attacks if the player attacks him. As he says himself, thusly, I will imitate your every move. Therefore, the most effective way of beating Go-Go is to not move at all. After a while, Go-Go gives up and rewards the player for doing absolutely nothing, leaving the party to go on its merry way. Not only is this a clever puzzle, but its solution is completely effortless, and that I can definitely get behind. And there we go, those were 10 video games that reward you for not playing them. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, but before you go, my friends, this list has sparked within me a little bit of a thought. Sometimes it is okay to not do something. We always pride ourselves and push ourselves to work as hard as we can to succeed in society, but that comes with a lot of pressure. And sometimes that pressure can manifest in bad ways. Trust me on that one. It's okay to take a step back, and it's okay to gain some perspective. And if you need help with this, remember, you can always speak to people. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And you can go follow me at RetroJ with a 0 if you have the inclination. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.